So yeah, I just want to say what's going on with the ozone for me. So I got the stuff yesterday, and I did the insufflations yesterday, and I did just a low dose ozone sauna last night, and then all the same stuff again today with higher concentrations, because I was doing like sort of subclinical concentrations of some of it yesterday, and it's so weird and interesting, and I just feel so weird. It's so different, really. There's a lot of, I don't really know how this is going to work or anything, but I feel sort of incapacitated, and I feel like it's really hard to explain this, because when people hear that, they're like, oh, are you using too much of a dose, or is the dose too high? I think the complicated thing with ozone is that it does so many different things at once that it's really, like, it's sort of like it both causes herxing and clears out herxing, because it clears out toxins, and so it's sort of like, if you get just the right dose and the right schedule of administration, it can sort of like just be like this giant conveyor belt, like moving the bacteria and their toxins out of you. But I could also see that the wrong dosing schedule. I mean, I really don't feel like this is something that could make me herx massively, because any amount of ozone that were going to kill a lot of stuff would also be detoxifying me. But so it's not like I'm worried about overdoing it too much. I mean, as long as I'm using the doses that they say are okay. It is just a lot of change to go from not being on ozone to being on ozone, though. And so I think I'm kind of going through that change for a couple of days, where like so much is changing in my body, and I feel really different, and I just feel kind of like I can't do anything. Like usually I work on my book and stuff, but I just feel sort of like I'm just going to go up and be in bed after this. And I think here's why, that most Lyme treatments do one thing. Like, a lot of Lyme treatments will kill bacteria, or they do like maybe two things. Like, antibiotics will kill bacteria and they're anti-inflammatory, or something will be, detoxifying or something. And so you'll have like a very definite response from a treatment, whereas this ozone does so many different things at once that you're like, I took it and I feel super different, and it's hard to explain why or how, because it's like I feel like my immune system is boosted. I feel like that kind of like immune feeling, like it's a sick day, but in a different way than usual. And I feel like a relief of my usual pain, but then I have sort of this new kind of generalized kind of tenderness and inflammation everywhere. And I have like a relief of my usual nausea, but then my stomach does feel a little strange, and I have like, I'm feeling like calm and happy, but I'm also feeling really depressed lately. And I don't know if that's from like moving the mercury out through the ozone, and then I also feel like, a lot of stuff. There's this feeling you get where you're like, dang, a lot of stuff is dying in my body. Like, I can just like imagine little molecules like percolating through my body, and all the like dying, all the like multitude of things in there getting affected, and so it just feels really strange. And I really wasn't expecting this. I was expecting to do this, and I feel like really happy and awesome and like, productive, and I'd be like, oh boy, I want to go out and stuff, but I don't. I just feel like I've been to the emergency room. You know that feeling after you go to the emergency room, or afterward, you're just like, I'm just gonna like go home, and I don't even know if I'm gonna do anything. I'm not even necessarily gonna like watch a movie or anything. I'm just gonna kind of sit and look at the wall, or like you just feel like it's like, I guess the feeling is like whatever you're doing doesn't really matter that much, because something so significant has happened to your physical body that you had to go to the ER for it, and now you also feel kind of incapacitated because you might have like some bandages, or you might still be getting over whatever the injury was, and so you're, like the stuff that you normally take really seriously, where you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, you're sort of like, whatever, I don't even care what happens one way or the other. I just feel like I've survived something, like something massive has happened to my body. So that's the feeling I get. It's sort of this like shell shock feeling of like something really massive happened to my body between yesterday and today. And like I went for a walk yesterday morning, and then I went for another walk yesterday evening, and I was really, really weirded out by it. Like I was almost like, I'm always surprised when like anything emotional happens to me because I always think these things only happen to other people. Yeah, because I was going on this walk and I was like, God, I feel like a different person than when I went on the walk this morning. Which isn't to say I feel like super and awesome and like super healthy or anything. It's just that I feel like my consciousness is different or my body is different or just I've been walking around in the house and sometimes I'll get really weirded out because like for a couple minutes or for a little bit I'll feel like, gosh, like I feel like this is the house where, you know, I used to do stuff like as a kid we put a Christmas tree up, or like kind of like identifying with the house in a different way, like, oh yeah, when I was young I used to do this, or just like the house looks different to me after doing ozone, or like, you know, so, you know, I really can't say anything about what this is going to do for me in the next couple weeks or months, but it definitely is a significant it does something significant in the way of changing how I feel. Like it's a major physiological change. And oh, and the other thing is, I think that the best thing is I can kind of feel like you get a sense for it after you use it once or twice. You're like, okay, here's how it feels. It actually kind of hits you a little bit after you use it, and so you feel like, okay, well, if I do this dose, this is how it hits me later on, and then so you kind of get used to it. And I think I need to have sort of like a cycle where I'm doing it every couple hours, sort of like the way they do chelation, color chelation, where you're doing it on a because you want sort of you figure out the half-life of the ozone. You're like, okay, I do it like this and then it sticks around my body this long, and then I feel like I'm craving it at this other point because I kind of want to like keep things going. Because what I feel is it's like earthing. When I started earthing, I'd hurt so much from it. Like I'd go sit on the ground in Boston Common, and then I would go home and I feel like really nasty, right, from the herxing. But I had this intuition that if I could just earth all the time, then that toxicity that would hit me like 20 minutes after earthing would just keep getting moved out by the continuous earthing. And so I got this band and my earthing mat for my bed, and then that worked. I just started doing it totally all at once. So there, you know, the idea about, you know, building up slowly definitely makes sense if you're dealing with like substances like medications and herbs, and it makes sense if you're dealing with things that can cause irritation. Like you have to build up slowly with the insufflations because they can irritate your body cavities. So that's what they said, to build up slowly. But, and I guess your body gets like steeled against it. And I don't know, that's not how you get used to it. But when it comes to these certain treatments that both kill stuff and move stuff out of you, I think sometimes it's easier just to like get onto them all at once. You know, like with chelation, it's probably easier and healthier for your body if you're doing the kind of continuous chelation rather than just like a massive dose and then you wait and then a massive dose, you know, or even a small dose. And, you know, it's just better to like keep the conveyor belt moving. So I'll probably do a little more insufflations this afternoon. And, you know, oh, the other thing is, I don't know if people have realized this, but I make videos when I'm like not feeling well enough to do anything else. So it's not that I like have, and also it means that this is sort of my low point when I make videos. Usually I'm feeling a lot better where I'm kind of doing stuff like a regular person, like a little bit. Like I will have these like massive books of like all these notes for things I still need to ask people for my book. I have to like get back to a lot of people and ask them little details that they left out of their interviews when I was doing the written interviews, and all these more questions and more ideas. There's just like massive confusion and a lot of stuff that goes on, and some of the days I really get to just sort of like work, like you know, I get to apply myself to something, which is great. And